Assalamualaikum and a very good morning to Prof. Sam. So we're going to present on the guidelines on OSH for lighting at workplace. So first of all, we'll introduce ourselves. My name is Siti Najah Ismail. My metric number is 182084.
And my name is Muhammad Ibrahim Shamsuddin and my number is 178850.
Okay, hi, my name is Fikri. My number is 184404.
Hi, my name is Raja Alaiman bin Raja Muhammad Musin. My metric number is 182144.
And my name is Janita Janice, metric number 184317.
Alright, so first of all, we'll proceed with the definitions. Alright, so here's a few definitions on the guidelines. Here is luminous flux, which is the quantity of energy of light emitted per second in all directions, and the unit is lumen, and then luminous intensity, which is the ability to emit light in a given direction, and the unit of luminous intensity is candela, and then illuminance, which is the measurement of amount of light falling onto illuminating and then spread on surface area. So the SI unit is lux, and then luminaire. It is an apparatus which distributes, filters or transforms the light given by lamp or lamps. And then general lighting, which is, and then there's also local lighting. And then working plane, which is the horizontal, vertical or inclined plane. And then reflectance, which is the ratio of luminous flux reflected from surface to the incident in luminous flux, and usually expressed as percentage. And then glare, which is discomfort or impairment of vision experience when parts of visual field are excessively bright.
Yeah, so I will continue with lighting in view of safety and health. Okay, there are safety aspects of lighting. The first one is illuminous. It's about amount of light falling onto a given surface area. Second, glare effects, which is discomfort or impairment of vision due to excessive brightness. Third, color effects. At very low illuminance, color vision fails and all colors are seen as shade of grey. Fourth, stroboscopic effects, which is objects will appear to be stationary or moving in a very different manners. Fifth, flicker refers to quick repeated changes in light intensity. Sixth, Wheeling reflection, high luminous reflection which overlay the detail of the task. Okay, this is the picture about the direct glare and reflected glare. And this picture is about Wheeling reflection. Okay, health aspect of lighting. The first one is visual fatigue or eye strain. It's about excessive stress on any of the function of the eyes due to poor lighting. Okay, there are some symptoms which are painful irritation, breakdown of vision, reduced powers of accommodation and convergence, reduced visual acuity, and lastly, refer symptoms such as headache, fatigue, and giddiness. Okay, the second one is about damage, tissue damage caused by optical radiation in the infrared, visible and UV from light source. Okay, that's all from me. I pass to Anita.
Okay, I'm going to proceed with the lighting equipment. Basically, there are three basic equipment involving in lighting guidelines, which are the lamp, light fitting, and control system. So there are 7 aspects that have been discussed in the guidelines. For the first one is the lamp prefix letter that consists that can be seen in the lamp itself, so that it can be easily to identify, and the construction and the appearance, which means this is involved with the construction of the lamp and the physical appearance of the lamp. And luminous efficacy, which means the higher the efficacy, the more efficient of the lamp is. The lamp, for the fourth characteristic, we know the lamp will achieve its end life when it fails to function, flickered markedly, and efficiency at uneconomic level. The fifth one is the apparent color, which means the light that emitted by the lamp. And sixth one is the color rendering, which involved it with the color rendering index. And the seventh is the run-up time. Next. Light fitting. The most important that we need to remember about the light fitting is we must know the characteristic of the good light fitting. It must have a good support and can protect the lamp. For example, here we have the pole mounted, ceiling mounted, and the wall mounted. And it must provide electrical connection, of course, in order for it to function and safe. The third one is a control system. We have 4 types of control system, which are the switches, dimmers, timers, and sensors. And the characteristic that we need to consider to choose a good control system is it must easily access. We must put it as good, where we must put it better at the entrance so that it is easy to access. And it is not position passing any machine. For example, in the factory, we must put it in accessible location. And there are 2 types, which are the mechanical switches and automatic control system. Next, I'm going to pass with Najiha.
Okay, thank you, Joanne. I'll proceed with lighting installation. So, when assessing an existing lighting installation or design new one, it is essential to establish these 3, which is the purpose of the installation, why you would like to install, and then the conditions in which it will operate. For example, if the condition is maybe corrosive and maybe the place can be explosive, and then any constraints imposed by the workplace or the task to be performed. So first, there is the relationship between use of daylight and artificial lighting. There is 3 possible courses of action. First is to rely on daylight during daylight hours, and to use artificial lighting only during hours of darkness. So they use both. And then to use available daylight supplemented by artificial lighting, and then to ignore daylight. So they didn't use daylight and then only depend on artificial lighting only. So there's 3 types broad of interior lighting usually used in workplace, which is first general lighting, where uniform illumination over the whole working area. So all the working area get the same general lighting. And then second is localized lighting, where it provides different levels of illumination at different parts of the same working areas. So you can see it depends on the working area. And then local lighting, usually the combination of background lighting and also the light fitting close to the actual work area. And then the next is exterior lighting. The type of exterior lighting installation chosen will depend on the size of the area to be covered and also the purpose for which it will be used. For example, for work, for security, or any means of access. And then proceed with lighting maintenance. So how often you would like to maintain? It actually depends on the equipment in use and the environment in which it has to operate. So first, choose light fittings which resist to dirt and corrosive environment. And next, ease of maintenance. So if it's easy to maintain, and then it depends on the ease of access to the fittings. Next up first.
Okay, I'm continuing with the lighting assessments. Okay, first of all, the lighting assessment is to evaluate the lighting condition and the level of the lighting in the work environments. Okay, first of all, there are 3 we need to identify the potential hazards arising from the work activity under the current lighting conditions in the workplace, such as the insufficient illuminations, excessive contrast, glare or flickers. Then we need to identify the employee who may be harmed and evaluate the risk and decide whether the improvement measures are needed to protect the employees, including but not limited to the lighting provisions. Okay, there are two ways that can be conducted in lighting assessments. First of all is the walkthrough inspection, and the second one is lighting measurements. For the walkthrough inspection, the process to identify the existing lighting conditions such as the dim work environments, defective lamps, strong glare and reflections. And the locations and the number of points to be measured should be identified clearly. light bulbs and tubes which have been blown or are reduced in brightness should be replaced before conduct lighting measurements. And these are the plot chart of the lighting assessments. First of all, the walkthrough inspections. Conduct light-through inspection to identify lighting conditions in general errors and station errors. Point of measurements, location and number of points, and the light bulbs and tubes which blown or are reduced brightness we need to be replaced. Then we need to conduct the measurements by preparing the equipment, record the measurement data, and compare the measurement data with the recommended luminance in Appendix 1. And for the recommendation improvement measures, we need to recommend the actions for the improvement from the lighting assessments. And then we need to write a full report based on the findings. We need to implement the recommendation solution to improve the lighting condition through improvement measures. And then we need to keep the report for future reference. And then I pass to Rajadi.
So basically for the lighting assessment, we have two steps. The first one will be the walkthrough inspection. And it is an evaluation of the lighting condition and also level of lighting in the work environment. And for the second step, that is lighting measurement, it is used to evaluate the general lighting at general area. The first one, and the second one is to evaluate for the specific task or activity at workstation area. And lighting measurement is categorized into two. That is uniformity of illuminance and illuminance ratios. And so for measurement for general lighting, it is used to measure length and width of the room and height and lighting above the working plane. And the third one will be to calculate the room index and to find the minimum requirement of number of measurement points. And finally, to measure the illuminance at the center of each square using a lux meter based on the equation on the screen. And so this minimum number of measurement points. And for the room index, we have below 1, there is 4, 1 and 2, 9, 2 and below 3, 16, and above 3 is 25. And so this is for a specific task or activity at workstation area. The first one will be to measure a specific task or activity and divide 4 points representative on the work plane. And to measure the illuminance level at the center by each area by using a lux meter, and calculate the average illuminance by using the equation that has been shown in the previous slide. And so for reporting the assessment, first we have to have introduction of the assessment, and we have to include the purpose of the assessment and equipment to identify the lux meter and also the date of calibration. For the methodology, it describes the work and position of the measurement point and also details of the lighting fixture. And for the result, it tells about the detail of the assessment data for each work area and task and compared to the recommended lighting requirement by the guideline. And finally, recommendation for further action to propose immediate action by the assessor. And finally, the conclusion. So we move on to Jonita Jonis.
For the last part of the guideline is about the emergency lighting. So for your information, emergency lighting is to guide the evacuation process in a premise. And there are two characteristics that is most importantly in choosing an emergency lighting, which is it must light up immediately and have alternative supply, for example, a generator. And there are two types, standby lighting and escape lighting, that you can see here. The example of escape lighting is the escape route lighting and the open area lighting or anti-panic lighting. And the third example for escape lighting is it is the high risk task area lighting. That's all from us. Thank you.